She had position. She had the king's favor, or had 30 days ago. But none of that could save her people. Who is he? Where is the one who dared to do this? Hey friends, welcome to our final episode on the Unshaken series. I truly hope these episodes have blessed your heart, strengthened you, and drawn you closer to God. For me, it has been such a beautiful experience journeying through these familiar stories in the Bible with you. And I must say, I have enjoyed every bit of it. You know, sometimes in life, we are placed in certain positions. We encounter certain opportunities and we walk into certain relationships. And I believe they are not random. I believe they carry purpose. You know, I've seen this play out in my own life in different ways. There's a verse in the book of Esther that really captures this. Esther 4:14 says, "And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this." I see positions, friendships, and experiences in my life as a calling, as a gift, as a privilege, as purpose. Even when those seasons are difficult, even when they come with pressure, even when they don't end the way I expected, I still believe I was there for a reason. Even if it becomes a victory for someone else and a disappointment for me, I still see purpose in being part of that process. And I'll share more about that in another episode. But today we are stepping into the story of a woman who was placed in a position not just for honor, but for purpose. So let's step into the time when Esther had just been made queen in the Persian Empire, in the capital city of Shushan. The story begins after Esther had already been made queen. She's married to King Ahasuerus, ruler of a vast empire stretching from India to Ethiopia. Around this same time, the king promotes a man named Haman, elevating him above every other noble in the kingdom. By royal command, everyone at the king's gate was to bow before him. Everyone except one man, Mordecai, Esther's cousin, would not bow. He told them plainly he was a Jew. Now, when Haman found out, he was furious, but one man refusing to bow was not enough for him. In his pride and rage, he decided to destroy not just Mordecai, but every single Jew in the kingdom. He cast lots to choose the right day. You know, he went to the king with a carefully crafted story. He even offered to fund the slaughter himself. 10,000 talents of silver. The king handed Haman his signet ring without hesitation, saying, "The money and the people are yours. Do with them as you please." Now letters were sealed and sent to every province. Destroy, kill, and annihilate all Jews, young and old, women and children, in a single day. While the king and Haman sat down to drink, you know, the city of Shushan was in confusion. Now, when Mordecai learned what had happened, you know, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes. He went into the city and cried out a loud and bitter cry. Across every province where the decree had reached, there was mourning, fasting, weeping, wailing. Esther heard the news and was deeply distressed. She sent clothes to Mordecai, but he refused. So she sent a messenger to find out what was happening, and Mordecai told her everything. Then he charged her, "Go to the king, plead for your people." Imagine receiving that message. Esther responded honestly. She laid out the reality of what was being asked of her. Everyone knows the law. Anyone who approaches the king's inner court without being summoned is put to death. The only exception is if the king extends the golden scepter. And I have not been called in 30 days. 30 days. That was Esther's response. What a position to be in. Her people at risk, her own life on the line, and the law of the land standing between her and the only one who could help. But Mordecai's reply cut straight through every fear. Do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than all the other Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Yet, who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Those words still echo across centuries. Your position is not accidental. Your influence is not coincidental. You are where you are for a reason. God places people in the right place at the right time. And sometimes, He calls us to step forward, not when it's comfortable, but when it's critical. Now, something shifted in Esther. When she heard those words, she sent word back to Mordecai. Go, gather all the Jews who are present in Shushan and fast for me. Neither eat nor drink for 3 days, day or night. My maids and I will fast likewise. And so I will go to the king, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. That is not the sound of someone giving up. That is the sound of someone placing everything, her crown, her life, her future, in God's hands. She didn't know what the king would do. She didn't know if she would walk out of that place alive. But she knew her God was faithful and prayer was her foundation. No one is safe in their own strength, not even a queen. Esther had wealth, she had position, she had the king's favor, or had 30 days ago, but none of that could save her people. Only God could do that. So they prayed, they fasted for 3 days, day and night. Esther and her maids, Mordecai and the Jewish community in Shushan, all seeking God together. Imagine those 3 days, the silence, the weight of waiting, the temptation to give in to fear, but they held on. They trusted. They believed. On the 3rd day, Esther dressed in her royal robes. She stood in the inner court of the palace, facing the royal house, where the king sat on his throne. And when the king saw her, he looked upon her with favor. He held out the golden scepter. What do you wish, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be given to you up to half the kingdom. Just like that. That is what prayer does. That is God moving ahead of you before you even speak. Esther didn't rush. She didn't panic. She invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. And at that banquet, she invited them to another. Wisdom, patience, timing. She allowed grace to do what strategy alone could never accomplish. On the 2nd day at the banquet, the king asked again, "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" This was the moment. "If I have found favor in your sight, O king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, to be killed, to be annihilated." The king was shaken. Who is he? Where is the one who dared to do this? And Esther said, "The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman." In an instant, everything changed. Haman, who had been so powerful, so celebrated, so proud, fell before Esther, begging for his life. And the word came. There was a gallows Haman had built, 50 cubits high, prepared for Mordecai. "Hang him on it," said the king. Haman was hanged on the very gallows he had built for another. What a man prepares as a trap for others, God can turn it into the very instrument of his downfall. But Esther was not finished. She fell at the king's feet, weeping, imploring, asking him to revoke Haman's decree against the Jews. Once more, the king extended the golden scepter. Once more, Esther rose. A new decree went out in the king's name, sealed with his ring to every province, every language. The city of Shushan rejoiced. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. In every city, a feast, a celebration, a holy turnaround. Friends, there is something about Esther I want us to hold on to today. She could have stayed silent. She could have hidden behind the palace walls and hoped for the best. But she chose to trust God over her circumstances. She prayed when she didn't have answers. She moved when she was afraid. She spoke when it cost her everything, and God met her every single step of the way. Here is something else worth noticing. Even as queen, Esther was not safe in her own strength or her own position. It is foolish to believe that wealth or status can make us untouchable. Deliverance and safety come only from God. Are you in your Esther moment? Maybe today you are standing at your own inner court, facing something that feels too big, too risky, too uncertain. God is saying to you what Mordecai said to Esther. You're not here by accident. Who knows whether you have come to this place for such a time as this? So pray, fast, seek the face of God. And when he says go, step forward in faith, in courage, in trust, because God does not place you in a moment without also going before you into it. And at the center of it all was a woman who did not have certainty, who did not control the outcome, who could not guarantee her safety, but still chose to step forward, still chose to trust, still chose to act. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation like that? A moment where everything felt uncertain, where the outcome wasn't guaranteed, where all you could do was hold on to God. What did that feel like? Did you go all in like Esther? If I perish, I perish? Or did fear try to hold you back? What helped you stand firm? What helped you remain unshaken? Esther's story is a deep one. It is bold. She didn't have guarantees, but she trusted. She went to the only one who is mighty to save, the only one who sees all, who knows all, who can make a way where there seems to be no way. That is our God. He always comes through, but we must get to the place where we truly believe that he can. Our attitude matters. Our faith matters. Our posture in waiting matters. How we approach the situation matters. So, whatever you are going through right now, I would love to encourage you. Stay firm. Believe. Keep going. Take that bold step. Trust that the favor of God will meet you right at the point where you need it. Remember this in Psalm 5 verse 12. For you, O Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor, you will surround him as with a shield. Ask God for favor. Ask for his deliverance and trust that he will come through for you. Even if something had been written against you, even if a decree seems final, it will not stand. Just like it did not stand against Esther and her people. You know why? Because scripture reminds us, who can command things to happen without the Lord's permission? No decree against you will stand. Only the decree of the Lord will prevail. So stand firm, be strong, remain unshaken, because you serve a mighty God who saves. And just like Esther, you will see favor, you will see deliverance. And yes, you will declare a thing and it shall be established. Thank you so much, friends, for joining me on this final episode of our Unshaken series. I truly trust that these episodes have blessed your heart and encouraged you to remain unshaken, because God is mighty and He is with you and He has the power to save. If this blessed you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And next time, we begin a new journey, More Than a Conqueror. We'll be looking at the lives of people who faced pressure, stood firm, and walked into victory. You don't want to miss that. So take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.